On the table then, unveiled, a lot of it leaked. We got more detail today. Achievable?
No, in a word. No, this is a cake and eat it approach. We're going to cherry pick all the benefits of EU membership in terms of the trade, but we're not going to do the financial transfers. We're not going to accept most of the regulations. We're going to set our own immigration policy. Good game if you can get it, but the bottom line is you can't get it. And what it seems to me is it doesn't begin the political process of preparing the British people and the Parliament for the inevitable choices, the inevitable compromises. So this is fine as an opening position, but this is truly unsustainable.
David, you look at the market reaction, largely seen as sterling supportive, at least for now. One of the headlines that did drop, that did boost the pound, at least on an intraday basis, was the idea that this vote would go before Parliament once you get the actual deal. Does that make things any better on the margin, at least in terms of where sterling goes from here?
I mean, I think only to the margin. I think, to me, the only thing that's new in this speech is the fact she's saying that she's prepared to give up access to custom union in exchange for the ability to negotiate freely for free trade agreement with other countries. Now, this we know. There's been a lot of talk about, under Trump presidency, UK is going to much more likely to get a bilateral trade agreement. And I think there's no question that this is going to tremendously boost Britain's basic negotiating power versus the EU. So I think the emphasis right now is her upcoming trip to Washington, getting a free trade deal with the US under basically Trump, and then turn around and see if she can get a better deal with the EU.
David, we're talking about the potential for a better deal with the EU. Your perspective from London, please, on budget contributions. She did talk about this. We won't contribute to the budget of the European Union in the way we have done previously, but if we maintain our access to certain programmes, we will make those contributions. What did you make of that?
Well, it's a starting point. I mean, obviously, in terms of the speech itself, it was almost 45 minutes long. It was wide-ranging and setting out, obviously, her vision of a clean Brexit as opposed to a hard Brexit. And obviously, there was a warning here for the rest of the EU as well that if you don't play ball, then basically the shutters will also come down on you, and just basically a fairly tough ending really to the speech. But basically, the UK is not going to be in the single market. It may not even be in the customs union, but it wants basically as much access to the rest of the EU as possible. And she singled out certain sectors which are obviously important and go both ways: financial services, but also autos as well. But there's a thing in the cell that basically, if you don't play ball, there'll be certain things, there'll be consequences from the UK following. So I actually thought it was a really interesting speech. But it's not in her gift. Obviously, negotiations commence once Article 50 is triggered. It is still going to be a long, torturous process, and ultimately we probably will pay to get access to some degree.
So, Richard Haas, a long, torturous process. What can you tell us about where you think that process will end up? You said it's not going to be what she just said. We know they're coming out. You just have a new book out, World of Disarray, in which you suggest that maybe the Brexit is part of an overall pattern here of sort of a dissolving of some of the institutions. Can there be a new international order that comes out of this sort of negotiation?
Only if you're an optimist on steroids, to be perfectly honest. No, the combination of what we just heard against the backdrop of what Mr. Trump said over the weekend in the interview with the Times of London, what he said about Chancellor Merkel, what he said about NATO, what he said about the EU, it's hard not to watch all this, Dave, and feel that the Atlantic era and the European order, as we've known it, is unraveling on a daily basis before our eyes. I don't know where we're going to be in 6 months or, say, 2 years after the Article 50 period is gone through, but it's not going to look like this. And the real question is, what new European project takes its place? What's so stunning to me is that for 70 years, the United States and Europe have benefited from order and prosperity. And the cavalierness with which it is being jettisoned by both American and certain European leaders is quite stunning.